So, we're going to have a guest today. We're going to have my nephew, Kai. He will be joining me shortly. He's downstairs grabbing something, I don't know, whatever it was. And we're going to talk about a devil fruit that he designed based off of Nightcrawler. So I thought I'd get started on some of the general information, and then when he gets here, we'll let him start going into some of his stuff. So, Kurt Wagner is one of the X-Men. He is called Nightcrawler. His first appearance was in Giant Size X-Men in first volume, or volume number 1, in May 1975. His general powers are teleportation, which is the main thing he's known for, enhanced agility, flexibility, and night vision, all very useful things to have, generally speaking. Prehensile tail. He has superb acrobatic. He is a superb acrobat, fencer, and hand-to-hand combatant. I've definitely seen him fight with a sword in his tail, as in, like, the sword is used to fight with the tail, which is very cool, I would say. He was born with very unusual physical characteristics, as in he has blue skin. He only has generally 3 fingers on either hand, and the aforementioned tail. And because of this power, or because of this, he was kind of supposedly abandoned by his birth parents, and then he gets adopted into a circus where he is raised as an acrobat, and his mother is a sorceress. Don't ask me why. He also has an adopted sister. And then later on, he comes to find out that he ends up he ends up finding out who his biological parents are. So, surprise, surprise to nobody, given that they're both blue. His mother, yes, Brenda. His mother is Mystique. And she kind of gave him up for his own good, necessarily, is her answer to it. And then his father
Wait. Wrong Nightcrawler.
Open the door.
Mother.
Sit. This is Kai. I'm going to adjust you so you line up better with the light, so you're not so shadowy. Not a shadow government. Okay.
What? Yes, I am.
You're not involved in government at all. This is Kai. For personal purposes, obviously, we're not using his full name or his last name. And he's my nephew. How long would you say you've been my nephew?
About 14
Since he was born,
and 3/4 years?
He was born very shortly after 14. I graduated high school, so he'll be 15. He'll be 15 in the summer. And Brenda's also here. She'll be popping into frame from time to time between us. So, no, we're not talking about Nightcrawler from X-Men. We are going to talk about the Fresno Nightcrawler, based off of a devil fruit that Malachi made, that he designed, semi-designed. We're going to pull that up a little closer to the camera. Here we go. Sight gags are great, aren't they? These will go in my, I don't know when they'll be sent out, but I have several. I have 3 of them so far. And we are going to be doing this in regards to what type of devil fruit this would be. So kind of the just basic general information that we kind of just came up with, and just for cover. Because there's not really a category for these things, because Fresno Nightcrawlers are cryptids. Which, would you like to give a definition of what a cryptid qualifies as, or what qualifies as a cryptid?
A cryptid is an entity that may be considered cryptids by cryptid zoologists. Some examples are Bigfoot, Yeti, Chupacabra, Jersey Devil, Loch Ness Monster.
Jersey Devil.
You said Jersey Devil.
You said Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil. the jackalope, the Fresno Nightcrawler as previously mentioned, the Flatwoods Monster, and that's just to list 8 out of thousands of them.
So those are just kind of the general ones that people know about. To be fair, until he pointed this thing out to me, I didn't know what a Fresno Nightcrawler was anyway, because I'm not that super into cryptids for the most part.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Although he did ask me what would qualify as my favorite one, and at the time I didn't really have an answer because I wasn't sure what qualified as a cryptid, but apparently jackalopes do, which is good for me because I would say they're probably my favorite type of cryptid. Not that I don't like, the abominable snowman and, Bigfoot and things like that, but I just like, I'm just like, these things are adorable. Why? Well, yes. And it's generally in my background.
Cryptids are not necessarily creepy.
No, they're not. But
there's a lot of adorable cryptids.
Yeah, I tend to like more of the adorable things, which is fair. I might do a devil fruit someday based around a jackalope, but it probably wouldn't be that different than what I did for my rabbit fruit, except it gives you horns.
Ooh, there's also a Mothman who's adorable.
No.
Yes.
No, I know what Mothman is. I don't qualify him as adorable.
I do. But that's also coming from the one that qualifies spiders and ticks like that.
Mm-hmm. So, Kai, and he has a shirt that is very devil fruit associated. Kai is currently working his way through One Piece. He's nowhere near the chapter 1100, whatever the heck number I'm at by the time this video goes up. He's currently, at least at this point in time, as of recording of this video, he is currently on Little Garden. With Dorian Broggy and with Mr. Five and Miss Valentine and Mr. Three and Miss Golden Week and everything. So he's currently in that arc right now. I've tried to avoid a lot of spoilers. Like, he kind of knows who the Straw Hats are just because of, like, posters that I've had up or, like, other stuff that I've talked about. But since he started watching it, I've been kind of trying to, like, avoid a few things. I have told him that part of the crew ends up in, like, a Lego castle at the beginning of one of the arcs, but that, at the more, the very recent arcs. But that was just because he really loves Lego as well, and I thought he would find it fun. But for the most part, I've tried to avoid spoilers now that he's watching it, so he can experience it for the most part on his own. Although I have kind of told him, it's like, that's filler, avoid that, or like, that's filler, don't keep that into account or anything like that. We're also just trying to make sure he's not in complete shadow right now. I mean, I could do that, but then...
Then I look like I'm a shadow government.
You want to see what my influence on people does? This is what my influence on people does. So generally the way that we are just categorizing this is because there's not really a category for, like, cryptids, at least not thus far. Oda hasn't really used a cryptid. I mean, yeah, Chopper's monster point form could technically kind of go into that, but also Chopper's human point form kind of looks a lot like, like Sasquatch and Bigfoot and stuff like that. Kind of looks a little bit like that. But there haven't really been any that qualify as, like, actual cryptids thus far that I can think of. Oda tends to mainly do either real animals in the forms of, like, giraffes, sheep. Well, there hasn't really been a sheep zone. Well, there's just sheep's mild devil fruit, but that's different. That's a little bit of a different one. Kai also did design the bat zone. It would be in the box if you want to pull it out. Don't know if it's at the top or in the middle. He did a bat zone. Yep, he designed this. It's not a mythical zone or anything like that. It was just based off of, the Madagascar bat.
Madagascar
flying fox. Yes. And yes, there is a Bato Bato no Mi that is a quote-unquote vampire one that is from a video game, but it's filler. It doesn't count. It's non-canon. And there was more an actual bat zone that we learned about much more recently in the story, but that's kind of spoiler, so I'm semi-spoiler. So I'm just saying that there is one, but I'm not telling you who has it.
or what
Well, it's just
the forms look like or anything.
Well, we really only see like one form.
Mm.
We just see them like grow wings. We haven't seen them fully turn into a bat yet.
Mm.
But they were in like the previous arc, but they're not currently in the story. We don't know where they currently are.
That makes sense.
So there's that. So he knows what devil fruits are. I've talked to him about some of them. His shirt has some. As he learns them, he'll as he gets through the series, I'll show him other devil fruits and what they look like and stuff like that. And stuff randomly falls in the background as per usual. So we did that. So kind of just the way that I am. See, now I don't have to go out of frame if something falls. He can just pick it up, at least for this video. So generally the way that I've decided to kind of qualify this is just kind of as a Crypt Crypt No Me model Fresno Nightcrawler, or a Cryptid-Cryptid No Me model Fresno Nightcrawler. I'm kind of qualifying it a little bit like a mythical zone, because the it's not necessarily a real proven animal. And as there technically are aliens in One Piece, but they're not really involved in the story, at least not at the moment. And he's not anywhere near them anywhere yet. And barring
aliens are in the...
Well, they're in a cover story, which I will show you cover stories at one point in time, because they do kind of help with explaining how certain characters do get to other places. And they haven't animated them yet. I hope they animate the cover stories in the remake that they're going to do in the reboot. I really freaking hope they animate the cover stories. They better. Or they're going to have more annoyed fans. It's like, it's canon material. Animate the damn things. So this is technically being qualified as a mythical zone. Therefore, that it will end up involve powers that will be given to the person who uses it. The user of it, the one who ate the devil fruit. As you can kind of guess by the shape, we are kind of basing it off of a kind of a split white radish, just because that's kind of the general shape that the Fresno Nightcrawlers tend to have, from what we've seen. Just one side note. For note, a lot of the artwork that I'm showing here is from Etsy or Instagram or Redbubble, because there's not like official stuff of the Fresno Nightcrawler that's not like copyrighted by someone.
The Fresno Nightcrawler is an American cryptid that seems to be like a long pair of legs and not much else. It has been described as looking like a haunted pair of pants. There are several videos online from people who claim to have seen them. I will say that another name for them is the Fresno Alien. So if I say Fresno Alien, I am talking about the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The appearance is relatively short creature, which is approximately 4 feet in height. It is an extremely thin, white humanoid with no discernible arms. It also appears to be wearing a white gown or cloak or some sort. It is thought to be similar to a classic gray alien.
Okay.
But without a torso.
Yeah. So generally it's, about 4 feet tall then, and it's just kind of it has a general shape. It doesn't really seem to have like a lot of detail in how it looks then.
Yes.
Okay. Kind of like what we did with, the devil fruit. There's not like a huge general amount of a shape to it. And a lot of the artwork that I'll be showing doesn't really have like a huge amount of like a general shape beyond like, there's not much to it. It's like,
it's just a pair of legs.
It's a pair of legs. And they're not even all that well defined, so they might have skipped leg day a lot anyway. At least now I have someone who reacts to my bad jokes.
Or they could be too defined that they show up blurry in the trail cams.
Kai tends to be more in line with believing in cryptids, believing in aliens and stuff like that. Supernatural type stuff. Not that I don't believe in that stuff, but he is much more knowledgeable and invested in that than I tend to be. Not that I don't like that type of stuff as well. He has much more of an interest in it than I do, which is fair.
Not to mention hyperfixations.
That too. I hyperfixate on, well, anime, Disney, stuff like that. He hyperfixates on that stuff. Not that there's not crossover in that, because have you watched the Don yet?
Yes.
Okay, so
I've seen all of it.
Okay, so Kai has watched the Don. He's watched the first season. The second season's supposed to come out later this year. I don't remember exactly when, but it's supposed to come out later this year. I'm excited too because I've watched it as well, and they deal with cryptids to a degree. They've kind of gone into that. They
have aliens.
Mm-hmm. And they have supernatural stuff.
Loch Ness Monster, ghosts, things like that.
Yep. So there's crossover there. There connections there. And so there's that stuff. Kai's not as much into manga as he is anime, which is not a problem. Sometimes there's manga sites that it's like they're not the best for kids to read because of pop-up advertisement. So there's that.
I've been trying to get physical mangas.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that.
Read those.
And then there's that. I have looked for like different manga sites that are free that don't have bad pop-ups on them that I could recommend to the kids, to him and his sisters.
I prefer physical books.
But physical books are also very good as well, but sometimes those are just kind of hard to come across. I mean, like our library system here in Lincoln has a pretty good manga selection. Like a lot of the volumes that I have of One Piece, I actually got from the library when they've done sales on them. I've been to the libraries around Lincoln and stuff like that, and like they have like a decent manga selection, which I approve of. I mean, they have the staples and stuff like that, but I very much approve that they have those, because that was one of the ways that I learned about manga a lot more when I was in like middle school and stuff like that when I was a kid. We appreciate that. So him finding that stuff is very good for him. So we very much approve of public libraries in this family. Also helps because like my mom, his grandma, is very much a supporter and stuff like that of that. And like birthday gifts and Christmas gifts almost always have to have at least one book somewhere on the list, which is approved of, and that kind of applies to me as well, but I tend to have that anyway.
I have books and manga as two separate things on my list.
Perfectly understandable. Mm-hmm. So Kai's going to tell you a little bit about like the origins of where the Fresno Nightcrawler kind of came to be, and then we'll start going into more of like the One Piece Devil Fruit implications of something that they might be able to do and like how that would work.
So while there have been claims that they are a part of Native American folklore in the region, this has been debunked. The first sighting of a Fresno Nightcrawler happened in Fresno, California, hence the name Fresno Nightcrawler, by a man named
Jose.
After being woken up by his barking dogs, Jose observed the Nightcrawlers on his front lawn through CCTV. He woke up his brother to rewatch the footage after his brother claimed to have seen small footprints outside, but by the time investigators made it to the site, all evidence was washed away. After the initial sighting, the original CCTV footage was lost. The only remaining footage is a grainy video recorded from a monitor.
The Fresno Nightcrawler has been talked about, just from the bit of research. It has been talked about on a couple of different shows on YouTube or on not Ancient Aliens. Just, we're going to ignore Ancient Aliens as a whole thing with this. Most of their stuff is bullcrap anyway. But
it is interesting though.
Yeah, but don't take it for actual history.
But it's
interesting
not
to watch for fun. Don't take it as actual history. Don't do that. But
unless you want to.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No. I'm cutting that off at the pass. Believe in aliens you want. Do not believe in ancient aliens. Do not do that. Do not trust ancient aliens. I will cut that off at the pass. I'll cut that off at the root. But in regards to the Fresno Nightcrawler, yes, it's been talked about in a few different places, but it's not as well known as, like, you know, Bigfoot, obviously, and, you know, Sasquatch, Yetis, Jersey Devil, Jackalope, stuff like that. Jackalopes are kind of well known in Nebraska just because, like, we have jackrabbits here. And the Jackalope is a jackrabbit with antlers. And the jackalope, this one is actually the piggy bank of a jackalope that I bought when we were on our Nebraska trip a couple of years ago. Because it was my dad, me, and then Kai and his two older sisters were the ones that we went on the trip with. And I got this when we were at the Buffalo Bill Ranch.
Yep.
Where I got this.
I remember that.
Yeah, we enjoyed
and
that
this
trip.
shirt.
Yeah, well, this shirt was on the trip too. This I got at Chimney Rock. Because it's like the one thing I own that has a cryptid on it.
The one that know that a lot about cryptids has a cryptid shirt. The one that doesn't know that much about One Piece has a One Piece shirt.
Well, you're learning. But this is also, it was the one Chimney Rock. Yes, but this was like the one Chimney Rock shirt that I really liked. So, and I like Bigfoot. It's not, I don't have anything against Bigfoot. And then he's getting into One Piece. My mom got him the shirt for Christmas. And I'm like, where's mine? And I'm like, where's mine? I want a devil fruit shirt. And she's like, I'm sorry. So in regards to this as a devil fruit, are you aware of any types of abilities that these things have that could be applicable as like a devil fruit? Speed, they're very fast. Okay. As far as I'm aware, yes, there's a non-canon cheetah zone that you'll run into eventually. It's in filler. So there is technically one that goes into that. There are some other devil fruits that do.
How much does it speed you up?
It just makes you like as fast as a cheetah. It just makes you a cheetah zone, basically.
This one will make you 5 times faster than Usain Bolt.
That's how fast these things are.
I didn't do that much research.
So these things are fast. That's one thing. I noticed from some of the pictures that they like to they possibly stab their feet into the ground, the points of their feet into the ground. Okay.
Makes you agile.
It makes you agile. Okay. To be fair, these things don't necessarily look like they have bones. To be fair, Luffy sometimes acts like he doesn't have bones.
A lot of people think that Fresno Nightcrawlers are actually a type of ghost. That's a small fun fact for you guys.
Okay. That could be a jumping off point for something. So obviously he's not at Thriller Bark yet, but there is a devil fruit that does semi-pertain to ghosts. It kind of allows you to kind of conjure. They're called hollows. They look like ghosts, and they have the ability to kind of pass through you, and then they can basically make you think that you're the lowest thing that has ever crawled across the earth. And it happens to several of the Straw Hats, and it's hilarious. That's not really spoilers, because like that gets you find out about that really early on in the arc. That's not spoilers. I won't necessarily spoil what happens to them in the arc, but that's not really spoilers. That is the arc where they meet Brooke, though. But Brooke's a skeleton. But you know Brooke's a skeleton.
Yeah.
And Thriller Bark is very much based off of like Thriller by Michael Jackson. It's very like horror based type stuff. There's zombies that dance around with disco balls. See? I can now semi-talk to him about this stuff, and I don't sound like I'm crazy.
Of course there are.
To be fair, I can do the same thing with my mom, and I'll explain to her a plot point of One Piece, and she'll be like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. And I'll be like, no, it doesn't make sense, but that's the way that it worked. Okay, so Fresno Nightcrawlers thus far. Obviously, in regards to this, there would be the human form, which is just your normal self. There's no really additional implications with that. And then there is the full-on Fresno Nightcrawler form that you would be able to turn into. In that regard, that would be something generally, even if you're in like the hybrid form, which we're not even going to touch on what a hybrid form of this thing would look like because there's not really anything that would like work for it.
We've got 2 ideas. Both of them are kind of creepy.
Both of them are far too creepy, and I don't want to deal with them. If this was around Halloween that this was going to go out, I don't know when this is going to go up yet because it depends on how everything else lands for other videos. But neither of the things that looked good for a possible hybrid, but I would just say in general, for a basic hybrid thing, it would make you turn completely white, and it would maybe make it that like all your limbs are kind of like the Nightcrawler-ish type limbs, but
like your hands are
more pointy, your feet or your legs and stuff kind of look like the legs.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that. But that would be about the closest I would want to get to something like this. In all honesty, I don't think Oda... I don't know if Oda's going to go anywhere near cryptids, because I don't know how big of that's something he's interested in.
We could send him a letter.
Hey, I have been trying to figure out how to freaking send him SBS questions for several years now, because I have a list of them that I want to do. He doesn't quite know what the SBSs are yet. There's a thing that's called like a question corner is kind of how it roughly translates to English, where different fans have like sent Oda questions over the years about aspects of the One Piece world, characters, places, questions about devil fruits, different things like that. And Oda has answered them. Obviously, he doesn't answer everything because everybody sent him like stuff of like, what is the One Piece? Can you tell me what the One Piece is? What is the One Piece? That stuff, or like, when's this character going to pop back up again? Or when's this character going to pop back up again? Oda generally does not answer those. But there's like other stuff. If you people have asked
draft on what One Piece looks like.
I would say he has like a pretty good rough draft, but like he's had stuff planned out for a long time. But it's also, some of it is like he's just winging it. There's literal points where he's just winging it. Like since he's past Whiskey Peak, he knows that like Miss Wednesday is Vivi, who's the Princess of Alabasta. That was something that like Oda decided to do within like 2 chapters. He's just like, I like her with her hair down. She kind of looks like a princess. Oh, that'll work. That was literally what happened with Vivi. Yes. It was that quick. It was that quick. And then he made her the Princess of Alabasta. That is a job upgrade. That is a character upgrade from being someone who just like shows up as a mercenary, as a bounty hunter, and it's just like, no, you're now the princess of a kingdom. But also, you have a duck. Karu. I love Karu.
We love Karu.
We love Karu.
Karu's adorable.
Karu's great. And my mom just really likes ducks in general, so I'm just like, oh, well, I really hope that they have Karu in the live action. I really hope they do. I have no idea how they're going to animate him, or how well they're going to animate him, but like I am very excited for the live action.
Karu is Usopp as a duck.
Not quite. Karu's less lie. Karu tells less fibs. But like Oda will answer
Karu is a truthful Usopp as a duck.
Nah, I don't know. I wouldn't go through that. But like Oda will then answer the questions, and then they end up. Actually, if you want to run downstairs, I have my whole shelf with all the manga on it with the stacks on it. If you want to go grab one of them, I can show you exactly what I mean by an SBS. So you know where that is, right at the bottom of the stairs, by the china cabinet. I am alone. I don't care which volume. Just don't knock it over. Grandma knocked it over at one point.
Spoiler.
Not necessarily. This one's not really spoilery. This is volume 63. This is part of Fishman Island. It's not really spoiler. Let me see.
Is that, what's his name's island?
Which was, you mean Arlong?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Arlong's from, is Fishman Island. So, We have SBS. Which SBS? SBS is this. This is SBS. Oh, this will just be one of the volume 63 ones. So at the end of the different chapters, he will do, like, different people have written in questions about different characters, and then Oda will then answer them. I'm trying not to show him spoilers, so give me a second. Like, here's one about Chopper's hat. So, someone asks, like, is Chopper wearing a bonnet over the hat he wore over 2 years ago? If not, could you please explain it thoroughly? And then it's just like the diagram of, like, Chopper's hat. So sometimes they're very innocuous questions. Sometimes they are ones that then end up, like, semi-explaining a part of the plot that didn't get very well explained in the first place, or what the SBSs do. But I want to send Oda some SBS questions, just like in general, of like, what about this? How does this work? And sometimes he will answer them. It's when the different volumes come out, there's fan translations that end up on the internet for what the SBS questions are, which is sometimes very interesting information. Sometimes it's like not as interesting. Sometimes it's fairly interesting. Sometimes it's just boob jokes, to be fair. So back to the Fresno Nightcrawler. We've gone off track. Not that that's par for the course with my videos. So in regards to the Fresno Nightcrawler, so they can make you faster. You are more flexible.
And agile.
There
is a difference between those two.
So movement is a lot easier. You said that there's a thought that they might be ghosts, so there could be something there. I was trying to think. Maybe make it that you have the ability to make yourself
transparent.
Well, transparent, but I was going to say that you non-corporeal, where it's like that's you can, like, someone can, like, put their hand through you, like that, like the ghosts in Harry Potter, like how they can walk right through the ghosts, stuff like that. And so there's that type of a thing that could go along with it. And in regards to, because in One Piece, Oda tends to hype up what they can do as devil fruits, for mythical ones. For example, this is not a spoiler, there is a Phoenix mythical zone, that is used by a guy called Marco. And generally, what would you say Phoenixes are famous for being able to do? You can go off of her.
Set stuff up in flames.
Healing.
So
Marco is able to use his flames of regeneration, kind of is what they're called, to temporarily heal people. As in to, like, kind of help stuff heal faster. We see him fix, like, the sprained ankles here and there for like a creature that he's taking care of at one point in time. He kind of helps, like, alleviate some of the overall symptoms of, like, sicknesses, can kind of help keep stuff at bay. But Marco is also a doctor, which goes great with his devil fruit. Yes, which goes great with his devil fruit, and that comes into play at various points for how he uses his devil fruit. So there's that. So for the Fresno Nightcrawler, we're going to say that it allows you to become more agile, more flexible, increases your agility. We're getting into Pokemon stats now. It also allows you to become non-corporeal to a degree, so you can have different, attacks can pass through you. Although probably the same thing would apply if someone physical attacks can pass through you to a degree. Although if someone has hockey, which I'm not going to explain hockey at the moment because that's something you'll learn about later. Let's just say it allows you to think of it a little bit like the Force. He's also a Star Wars kid, so he has a good idea of what the Force is. So it's like,
or like Psychic in Pokemon.
Something like that, but hockey is to do with your willpower. And
okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so you remember in Logtown, there is Smoker, who's devil fruit is on your shirt. There's Smoker, and how like Luffy could not hit Smoker. Yes, got the Moku Moku no Mi there. Moku Moku no Mi. So
smoke fruit.
Smoke fruit. Yep. Moku is smoke in Japanese. Or the puff fruit, depending on the translation. So Smoker is a Logia. Hockey is something that allows you to actually cause damage to Logias. But you have to learn how to use it. It's something that you have to train with. So, that's kind of a lot of the way that, like, down the line, a lot of characters are able to deal with people who are Logias.
So, like, Asta with his dark magic? Or black magic?
Yeah, anti-magic.
I was close.
You were very close, but anti-magic, yes. Malachi is...
I'm an anime person.
Kai is also an anime person. He's getting into Black Clover. Finished it. Well, at least thus far. The next arc is coming out. And the manga's not even finished yet, but that's just... I'm not even going to get started on the manga right now. I still have, like, videos I have to finish for Black Clover, in all honesty, at some point in time. Because they haven't even finished the Spade Invasion arc yet in the anime. That'll be next. But, like, so he, Fairy Tail? You've watched Fairy Tail, right?
Bits and pieces.
So he's seen bits and pieces of Fairy Tail. So he, and, like, he's seen Pokemon and stuff like that.
I've seen every single Pokemon. I've seen all of Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I've started Season 2.
So he's got a pretty good... basis
I've
of anime.
got a pretty good list.
Not in comparison to what everything else is. Trust me, kid.
True.
I looked at something earlier that's just like lists of other anime, and I'm like, I don't know what half of these things are. They've seen a good chunk of Miyazaki movies, although I do need to try to figure up another time to have like him and his sisters and stuff come over to watch some more of them.
A lot of My Hero.
Yep, My Hero.
He's some of the movies.
Yep, he's very much into My Hero. Kai was actually with me when we went to the Omaha Pop Expo that we went to a couple of weeks, as of recording this several weeks ago, we went to it at one of the malls in Omaha, and he got to meet John Grimillon. Yes, he got to meet Mihawk. And John Grimillon, as I mentioned in that video, was very nice. I think I mentioned some stuff. I said, I may have mentioned that he got an autograph from Grimillon. Both him and John Swazi were very nice. And Kai went over and we talked to the other two ladies who were there. Both of them, I believe, had been in Avatar. And he's seen Avatar. He loves Avatar, The Last Airbender. That's still something I have on my list. Surprisingly enough, for my age range, I didn't grow up watching Avatar. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. So I don't know. I get the general plot of the show. I just have not watched it yet, and I know who Aang is.
Funny, Ha Boy has to learn how to use elements to defeat serious Fireboy.
Yeah, who just really needs a hug.
Yeah.
Just really needs a hug.
Yeah.
To be fair, there's a lot of characters in Avatar, as far as I'm aware, that just need a hug.
Zuko.
Yep.
Zuko is the biggest one.
Zuko is the biggest one. So I'm semi-familiar with Avatar. But, so Kai really enjoyed that, and that was not his first Expo, Comic-Con type thing he's been to. He's been to... Didn't Grandma take you to NebraskaCon?
That hasn't...
That's going to be later this year.
Ocon,
that's what she took them to.
Yep.
She took them to Ocon, but at the time I couldn't go for logistical reasons and money. So he's been to some stuff. So
two things
so far. We're going to go to...
As of filming this.
We're going to go to... I think there's another... I think we're going to see about trying to go to Anime NebraskaCon this year. That's a possibility. And then... We'll see. It depends on how much it's going to cost my mom, because she's the one that kind of, she will spoil the kids with that type of stuff, but it's also, she enjoys it, too. To a degree. I've been getting my mom more into anime. Forcibly making her watch things. I've gotten her into Apothecary Diaries and My Happy Marriage. You would like Apothecary Diaries. I think you would like it. It's a very, smart teenage girl in like Imperial China having to solve problems with logic and science.
I've also seen all
And
of Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Different time frame. That's not the same time
Oh,
frame.
I know.
But like so Demon Slayer, as he said. So he's got a very good base of anime. And so he really wanted to do a video with me, and this is one of the ones that we kind of like. He had suggested the Fresno Nightcrawler, and then I'm like, how about I make it a devil fruit?
And here we are.
And here we are.
We've got an amazing
Very
design
careful
for
with
this.
those.
I tried.
Yep.
I was trying to be careful.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Nothing broke. To be fair, they're easily fixed with an iron, but they're time consuming to fix. I had to adjust one of these at least twice while I was ironing them because the top part didn't want to iron correctly.
The stem.
Yeah, the stem didn't quite want to iron correctly. Part of it was like, nope, I'm not going to stay in line. Get back over here. It's like the beads were like wandering away on the table. Get back here.
The beads were being Fresno Nightcrawlers.
Maybe. So
that sounded funnier in my head. I
promise. That's okay. That's okay. There's stuff I say that sounds funnier in my head. I'm like, no, that didn't sound right.
Brenda's sleeping on the bed.
Yeah, she'll sleep and then she'll wake up again in a little bit. But at the moment, I can't really think of too much else that would go into this since you're the one that's more familiar with these things. So we've given it a bit. Is there any type of element you would say that you associate with them? Because a lot of the times, mythical zones will have some element associated with it. Like I said, the Phoenix one has fire that's associated with it. There is a dragon zone.
I want to say like water because how flowy the legs are.
Where the legs are, okay.
When they walk.
Now he does know about the rule that like water in One Piece is not good for devil fruit users, but that doesn't mean that there's not some that will like find ways to work around it.
Yes.
So maybe water-ish.
Or I could do earth because they are more of a land walking.
I was going to have a comment, and you can tell me if you don't think this would fit with a Nightcrawler, obviously. So you said that they stab their feet into the ground, and that's how they walk. Would there be a possibility that as they do this, that they are absorbing nutrients from the ground as they stab it?
Or like instead of nutrients, it's like energy from the grass and ground.
Well, I mean, like that would be kind of like pulling some of the nutrients out of the soil and then
like energy,
hyping it up a little bit.
Nutrients and like using that energy as attacks, like offensive. Because a lot of ours are like defensive.
Yeah, those are a lot more defensive. That is true. Although I mean, like Marco. I mean, like his Phoenix, like he can take, we've seen him like take bullets straight to the chest and he's fine because he just heals himself because he's more affected by his powers than other people are, obviously. But like, so he can heal himself if he gets like shot, particularly if he gets like shot while he's in his Phoenix form. He's like, well, that's not going to do much damage against me. I'm just going to heal it. To be fair, I don't know how much Marco feels pain when he gets shot, but I'm sure he does feel pain. He's just used to it by now. But, because I was trying to think, does this qualify? No, there is a character who does have a zone that has a devil fruit. I'm not going to give you the full description of it because spoilers. That does allow them to draw nutrients out of someone. Like, and now I've absorbed all of the, like, liquid and body fat that's in your body. And now you're like a husk on the ground. Yeah, that. I mentioned that there was the non-canon Bato Bato no Mi model vampire that's from one of the video games. That character has the ability to like suck away life energy. Is the way that they play it as him as a vampire. So it would be like that
from the grass and plants.
So we could put that in like there as like part of what this thing could do as like kind of like a more mystical type thing that it can do that qualifies for that, since there's not a super amount of information as to like what these things can kind of do.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking up stuff for this, to be fair, the kind of side Wikipedia page about it isn't really super long, and it more goes into like, no, it's not very long, and it more goes into like the supposed sightings and
I've also
footage.
read that from
Yeah.
trying to do my own research because we both did research on it.
And so it goes into that stuff, but it doesn't really go into anything enough about what it can do, about possible abilities that it could have. Because like with Sasquatch, you know, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call him, like those would qualify as like you're probably a lot freaking stronger. Like it would be like a strength increase if you got it.
And like with how long their legs are is why I was going.
Right. And like for example, if there was like if Oda did like an abominable snowman one, like the Yeti or something like that, given the fact that those things are very associated with snow, they would probably have the ability to some degree control snow
and water.
Not necessarily water, but specifically snow. Although there is a devil fruit that controls snow, can generate and control snow. It's a Logia. For basic purposes, and I know Kai knows this, but just for basic purposes, there's paramecia, which is what like Luffy and Buggy have, what you've seen with Mr. Five, Miss Valentine, stuff like that. The ones that where it's like it affects their own body, or it allows them to like Mr. Three makes wax and stuff like that. And then you have the Logias, which are elements, which like you've seen Smoker, but he hasn't gotten into the other elemental ones yet. He'll get to those later, but he hasn't gotten to them yet. And then there are zones, which is what this qualifies as. And like he knows that Chopper's a zone. He knows that
even if I technically haven't met Chopper.
Yeah, he hasn't quite met Chopper yet, but I had to give him like an example of someone to look up for what to do. So I told him to look up Dalton from, you know, because that's not super far ahead from where he's going to be. He's at Little Garden right now. He'll get to Drum Island very shortly. So I just told him to look up Dalton because it's like Dalton's a pretty good example of like what a zone can do for like the three forms, for like his regular human form, his full-on bison form, and then like his hybrid form. And you thought Dalton looked pretty cool, didn't you? Yeah, Dalton looked pretty cool. So, and like I've mentioned to him a few different characters, but not like spoilers about the characters. Like telling him that Dalton's a zone is not a spoiler. You don't find that out exceedingly quickly in the arc, but you find it out, and it's not like he's like a big mythical zone or anything like that. But it's just like he's a bison. He turns into a bison. I'm not going to spoil for him like what the other Logias are, because that kind of, you know, gives away some of the game down the line, and I don't want to do that. But like there's Smoker, there is a Flame Logia. That's not really a spoiler. You know, there is a Flame Devil Fruit. I'm not going to tell you who has it. That's spoilery. That's very spoilery. Although it's on his shirt, but then there's like several ones on the shirt that I could be like, I can tell you who has that, but it's a spoiler for like them showing up later or whatever. Although because they have the ox fruit over here, that is the they can't see it enough on camera. I'll pop it up in post. I'll pop it up while we edit. He also is going to get a look at how I edit the videos too. So Kai's getting a bit of a breakdown in this today. See, Brenda's moving. She's telling us it's almost time to finish up. But so the Ushi no Mi model giraffe is just kind of, I just kind of refer to that as my mom's favorite because she loves giraffes. So, you know, this one is that one because it looks like bananas because my mom likes bananas and she likes giraffes. So it's a red banana that if you eat it, it turns you into a giraffe. So there's that. So I would say that's about it. Can you think of anything you wanted to add about Fresno Nightcrawlers in general? Something to do with the power? I will stare at you until you come up with something. Okay, he's got nothing.
I do have things.
Okay.
There are a bunch of fan art that is kind of the gist of a Fresno Nightcrawler, but it's not. But it won't really give you what it actually looks like. So I would, because in the CCTV camera footage from like 3 different videos that I could see, that I could find, none of them have eyes, which of course will be changed for the gist of the.
For the gist of what they look
Devil
like.
fruit.
Yeah, for the devil fruit, for what they look like in art and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you can't see the eyes in the footage. Sure, you can't really see the front of it that well, but...
Okay. I will put a link in the description to the general page that I found this stuff on in regards to it. Simply just because, and if anybody wants to look it up, I'll put that there. So that's what we have. I thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching, and have a fabulous day.
Bye.
Bye.